If you're a hockey fan, you certainly know Eddie O. He's played, he's coached, he's analyzed the game as well. The book is called Beating the Odds in Hockey and in Life. We're very fortunate to have our friend Eddie O join us here in studio. Now, before we started this interview, you two were saying you've known each other 20 years, maybe more?
Probably somewhere, maybe a little bit more than that, yeah.
Okay, so you go back.
It's been a pleasure for me. One of the great people I've ever come across. So love Eddie O.
Well, thank you very much, Jackie and E.J., to be here. And to see that intro kind of caught me off guard a little bit. It's an emotional time, obviously, the last couple of years of being diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer and coming out on the right side of the sod on it and looking to put that in a rearview mirror. So thank you very much for having me.
And you look great.
Yeah.
You do.
I feel good. Some of those pictures I saw, I put on a few lbs during my treatments there. I put on about 50 pounds. So I think they're all gone. Maybe they're I'm just hiding them a little bit better. Certainly, you know about that, right?
I got my own issues. We don't need to delve into that. It'll be in my book when it comes out. But
he's not heavy. He's my brother.
That's right. You look terrific.
Thank you. I feel really good, and hockey is back, so it's great to be back.
Yeah. It's the best time of year. Let's start with the book. How much did what you've gone through over the last couple of years impact your decision to take pen to paper and really tell your story? Because I know it's about more than that.
Yeah.
But was that really a motivator for you?
I think, Jackie, I think what it did is it tipped the scales for me, because I had thought about writing a book probably about 10 years ago, and the gentleman I wrote it with, Perry Lefko, is a friend of mine. I've known him since late 1980s when I played in Toronto. A big horse racing guy and a hockey guy, so I kind of felt it was just a perfect match. And you know, we talked about it over the years, and I'm like, who wants to read about me, some kid from Chicago making it to the show and living the dream and playing for my hometown team, obviously, with the Blackhawks, my first game, my last game, and played my 1,000th game with the Blackhawks as well, and a lot of games in between. But I think, Jackie, is that once I got sick and I was going through my chemo treatments, I started thinking about if somehow, some way I can beat this disease, maybe there's an opportunity for me to tell my story, to either help inspire somebody to stay away from it or inspire somebody to battle through it and say, hey, look, if that old broken down hockey player can do it, I can do it too. And I think that kind of pushed me over the edge and decided to do the book. And it was about a 16 or 17-month venture, but I think it's something that I was thinking about prior to that. So some of the parts were really easy. And I think the goal in the book is a couple of goals. Is I think people are going to laugh, people will cry, and I'm hoping that people will love a little bit more, because the love I got from my family, my wife, my kids, my circle, and the hockey community, in particular the National Hockey League, helped me get through my toughest time. And I'm hoping that that will maybe encourage somebody to let somebody know in their life what they mean about them, because I've always lived my life of letting the most important people in my world, in my circle, I've always let them know how I feel about them, because it would kill me if I wasn't around, if my family and the people that I love the most did not know how I felt about them. And I think that helped me go through the cancer battle. I was at peace.
Yeah.
Because if they would have came to me and said, this is it, you're done, at least I knew that the most important people in my world knew how I felt about them. And I was at peace going through, and I think that helped me. So I think hopefully somebody will love a little bit more after they read the book. And I'm sure there'll be some people a little unhappy with me, but yeah, that's okay, EJ. That's okay. Maybe
I don't think you can write a book these days without upsetting somebody.
That's okay. Well, maybe a former coach or 2 or 5 will probably get mad at me. You know what? I was mad at them. They were mad at me when I played for them,
That's
EJ,
right. That's right. Hey, you know, you talk about the battle that you went through, and I can, you know, it's interesting because I remember seeing you at the airport after the draft.
Right.
I think it was in Nashville.
Yeah.
And you know, you seemed a little like something was bothering you, but you probably had no idea.
Right.
You go through that process, you find out what happened. You go through this long stretch where you're dealing with so many different things. Was there a moment or two in there that it was just really difficult and almost too much for you?
It probably all happened after I had my surgery to remove a majority of my colon and remove the tumor to find out what the heck was going on. It was August the 4th at 7:07 p.m. and back in 2017 when I got that phone call. And I picked up the phone, and it was Dr. Scott Strong, who happened to be my surgeon. And he informed me that the tumor came back, the biopsy came back, and he told me that I had stage 3 colon cancer. And that he was recommending 6 months of chemotherapy, and then they would reassess from there. My wife happened to be in the room, and I think my wife was prepared for it. I think I was hoping against hope it wasn't going to be a cancerous tumor. So we had a moment, and I was wondering, well, how much longer do I have to live? That was just me, E.J.
Yeah.
Jackie, you hear that word and you think, I think death. Like, that's the way that I thought. So I had to make the long walk from my bedroom down to our kitchen area where our 4 kids were. And that was probably the hardest walk and the hardest conversation I ever had to have with anybody in my life. And I'm sure my wife prepared the kids for the worst, but to actually have to go tell them that I was sick, the last thing you want to do as a parent is to let down your kids or to hurt your kids or to see your kids worried. And I could see that look on their face, and they all wanted to. My oldest son, Eddie, is assistant coach at Bemidji State University. My son, Tommy, was getting ready to go play in Indy for the Indy Fuel in the East Coast Hockey League. My daughter, Alexandra, was going back to Alabama for her senior year to go to school, and my son Nick was on his way to his freshman year at Colorado College, and they all said, we're not going, we're going to be here with you. And like, that was one of those moments where you just lost it. And you know, I just said, look, you guys have to go on and live your lives. I promise I will be okay. I will fight through this. I will fight for you. And you just battle. You just battle through it. And I think those two situations, or that one situation in a matter of 10 minutes really was the most impactful. But I would jump ahead, though, is when I started my chemo treatments, my second chemo treatment, I was ready to quit. The side effects were just awful. And anybody out there that knows anything about cancer or chemotherapy, the side effects can be really, really difficult. And for me, it was neuropathy in my fingers and my feet. I would get bad nosebleeds, I had bad headaches, I would be vomiting. I developed a blood clot in my right leg, and you just go to the bathroom. Like, you have no control of what's going on. And I just told my wife, I'm done. I quit. I can't do this. How am I going to get through treatment 2, let alone get to treatment 12, which is in about 5 months? And probably the most profound thing in the book is I needed my wife to set me straight. And she told me, fight for me, fight for our kids, and fight for all the people that love you. And we had a moment which lasted probably 30 minutes, and there were a lot of tears and sobbing. And I said, okay. I needed that. I needed somebody to pick me up because I was at my lowest. I had enough quiet time to last me a lifetime when I was sick. And anybody out there that is battling any disease or going through a tough time, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And I needed her to grab me by the short hairs and shake me up and down and go, look, you got to battle, you got to fight. And I never quit at anything in my life. I played in plenty of hockey games and coached in a lot of hockey games where we were down 7-1 in the third period. You're going to go down fighting. And I needed that. And I think that was probably the one thing that my wife did for me, was she picked me up off the ground when I was at my lowest. Because when you're sick, you feel like you let everybody down. You feel weak. You feel less. But the hockey community and my family and my friends supported me and helped me get through. But I think that those two situations really kind of resonate with me and made a huge impact on me as a person and somebody in the community.
Your wife sounds like a very strong woman, and that's really that's exactly what that partnership is about, right? Is picking each other up, you know, when they need it most. One final question on that sort of area of your life. Now that you're back, you return, right? It was a big return. You're in Chicago. Has it changed the way that you interact with the hockey community now? I mean, I'm sure so many people, just hearing you speak about it, and people that have read and will read your book, it's inspiring, and I'm sure people that are going through similar situations must come to you all the time now.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think so. Just the communication part, and as we all know, cancer does not discriminate. It can hit anybody at any time. Look, I woke up one day and I couldn't go to the bathroom, and the next thing you know, I'm having a 6-hour surgery removing half my colon and the tumor. So I think for me, Jackie, it's the love of being around the people that in the game that I love the most and has given me everything in the game of hockey. I mean, I met my wife on an airplane my rookie year in the NHL, and here we are, going on, a long time, 35+ years. But, I think when I communicate with people and they ask me how I'm feeling, or I learn of cases of of players or family members that are taken ill, I think it's always just reaching out and letting somebody know, and how important that is. Because like I said earlier, I mean, I spent 17 hours a day in our basement trying to fight this disease, and I didn't want to be by anybody. I just wanted to get through it, and I had enough quiet time to last me a lifetime. And the texts I would get and the calls I would get just to talk and cheer me up was just incredible. And I think then getting back to the normalcy, Jackie, I think that really helped me, because I did work when I was ill, and I think that really helped me get through it because of the support. And as I announced 7 months later that I was cancer-free, that it was a team effort.
Yeah.
We did it. And with Hockey Fights Cancer right around the corner, and being the ambassador for the National Hockey League on that initiative, there's no doubt in my mind the league is the greatest league in the world, and it has done some incredible things away from the rink. To me, this is this is the greatest initiative, the Hockey Fights Cancer project for the National Hockey League. It's just been great. So hopefully I can inspire one person, whether it's the book, Jackie, or somebody that's listening to us here today. Kind of feel like I have a purpose in life. But let's not forget the caretakers and caregivers as well. They're going through a lot as well. I never saw my wife down. I never saw my wife weak. I never saw my wife worried around me. But I know sure as hell is that when she was away from me, she would let her guard down and wonder what's going to happen to him. But I needed that support, and I'm glad it was me. I'm glad I'm the one that got sick, because knowing what I know now about the disease, I couldn't live if it was somebody that was in my circle, because I know exactly what that does to you mentally and physically. And but I'm feeling good, and right side of the sod. Looking forward to hopefully another 50 years, because that was a deal I signed with my oncologist, Dr. Mary Mulcahy, in Chicago at Northwestern Hospital. She recommended 6 months of chemo, and I said, okay, so what you're telling me? She said, I'm here to cure you, not treat you. Do you understand the difference? I said, okay, so 6 months of chemo for 50 more years, is that a good deal? Make a pretty good GM, huh, EJ?
Yeah, that's a nice
6
deal.
months for 50 years?
That's a good deal.
Where do we sign?
Right.
So,
let me know.
so far, so good.
All right.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, there's much more in this book outside of your battle with cancer. We want to dive into some of that stuff as well and talk about your career and all of the stories that I'm sure you've gathered along the way. We're going to take a quick break, but there's more from Eddie O after this.